Obviously, Hunter, it's been a up and down career here, I guess, for you in season, and for it all to come to fruition on Saturday. Just your feelings. You still got a couple days away.
It's crazy thinking that 4 years went by as fast as it did. Feels like the other day I was just walking here as a freshman, but good things come to an end, as they would say. And, excited we got a win this past week and kind of on a 2-game winning streak, as you would say. And hopefully we can get this win this Saturday against a good Missouri State team for our program, City Youngstown, and obviously us seniors.
Any goals or anything specific you or the team want to accomplish? One last chance to play in front of the hometown crowd.
Obviously, we just like to go out on a good note, get a win. I think that's kind of what we've come to conclusion. Obviously, playoffs. If we have a little slight chance, then we'll go from there. But we're preparing for this week and hopefully get a good win.
Was it like Saturday? Did you feel like it took a little while to get back in your rhythm, or did you feel good right off the bat? You kind of described that game and just how you felt throughout.
I mean, it was definitely, obviously, practicing in game is two different things. As Coach Monty says, the bullets are flying. What are you going to do? But I've heard that a lot. But it was definitely good to get back in the flow of the game. But like you said, the game speed was a little faster. But I felt like after that first drive I was in, I calmed down a little bit and felt like I was picking up where I left off.
Did you get a full week of practicing last week? Or did you get
Yeah, I was for the most part full all week of practice. We split reps with the ones, but I was mainly running with the twos. So I mean, it was good just to get back in the flow of things. And I really wasn't sure going into the game. They said they were gonna try to get me in early and see how it goes from there. But I wasn't sure exactly how much I would have played last week, and obviously played a pretty fair amount of the game. So it was good to get back and do what I love to do. Right.
Are you 100% though with everything that's happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% for, like you said, everything that has happened. Yes. So shoulder feels pretty good. It's going to be a little sore and achy, just obviously due to the injury, but I feel really good. So I don't have any complaints.
How about the mental thing? How much is it in your mind that, man, twice this season you've gone down? Does the injury sit in the back of your mind at any point?
I mean, like, up to the game, you're always gonna have concern about your injury. But once you're out in the field, you can't play to not get injured, because that's usually when you do get injured. When I'm out there on the field, I don't really think about that at all. So it doesn't really bother my mental state as much when I'm on the field. So I would definitely say that it doesn't really affect me when I'm out there. I got one more game left. What's there to hold back, right?
What's kind of been, after you look over the last 4 or 5 years, Hunter, what's kind of been the highlight for you?
Oh, man. Obviously, the Eastern Washington game was probably the biggest highlight of my career as a football player, high school, college, everything. It was cool to play the national championship. Not a lot of people can say that they did that, but we didn't win, so it wasn't as good of an experience as it could have been. But it was still cool to be with all the guys, go as far as we did, and kind of have that, under our belt. And obviously, my freshman year I had a pretty decent year, so I would say that was probably my two best career moments.
When you hurt your shoulder the second time, did you guys kind of go back to square one? I mean, was it kind of starting all over again, or was it a different process than when you initially injured it?
Well, when I initially injured it, it wasn't as bad of an injury. It was more of a sprain, minor separation, so it wasn't as long of a recovery period, obviously. And then the second time, it kind of set me back more than I wanted to. It was a little bit longer than I wanted to, and I was getting frustrated at times through the season just because I couldn't be out on the field. And it was definitely different. I've never had an injury my whole career that I've had to sit out of a game for. So obviously my senior year of college is not the way that I wanted to work out, but everyone says it happens for a reason, so I'm still sticking to that. So I mean, it happens. It's football. You're gonna have injuries, but I'm just glad that I can get back out and get these last 2 games under my belt.
What can you tell us about the Missouri State defense you'll face and what the challenges are?
Well, obviously, they're a better football team than they have been in the past, if you ask me, after watching them on film. They do a lot of good things on defense. They've proven towards the end of the year they're playing better football than people, have given them credit for, in my opinion. I think that they've, made a lot of strides as a defense from the last year that we played them. And for anybody that thinks that this game doesn't mean anything, it does. This is a big game for both our programs. Obviously, the last game of the season is always good to roll over into the next year. So I think this is a very big game for both of us. And I have a lot of respect for their defense and them as a team. I think they've made a lot of good strides going in the right direction.
What do they do that, or what have they been doing to other teams that you've seen on tape that, really catch your attention?
I feel like I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. They do a lot of good stuff. I think that they're a better defense, and we're gonna have to have a good game plan for them. And they do a lot of good things.
Hunter, what would you tell, now that one game to go, what would you tell young kids coming to Youngstown State? What sold you kind of on this program 4 years ago? And you went through a coaching change, so it's kind of different for you.
Right. Obviously, when I first got here, I came from a place that there wasn't a big population. It was kind of a small town. So coming to Youngstown, it's like a big small town, if that makes sense. A lot of people know a lot of people, and it's bigger than what I was from. So when I first got here, it wasn't like, I was kind of like, what is this? Like, I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. But obviously, after the years I've been here, I love the city of Youngstown. I love the people here. Everyone always says the people here are good. The food's really good here, But as a program, there's a certain tradition, a certain expectation, and obviously, only going to the playoffs one of the 4 years, hopefully getting a chance this year. But if not, it's not what I expected coming in. But we got to national championship, so I would say that the standard is high around here. Come in with a good attitude that. Every year that you're playing with the Y in your chest, you're expected to go to the national championship. You're expected to play in the playoffs, and that's kind of the mindset that, I think we've kind of hopefully carried over, and kind of the tradition, because we didn't go to the playoffs for a while. We had a little drought, and then last year we kind of turned things around, and obviously this year we didn't do what we wanted to do. But I think moving forward, I think there's a lot of expectations as a Youngstown State football player, and hopefully they can get that culture going again.
Kind of building off of what, Dana asked, between you being injured this year and last year, having to come off the bench and lead this team, towards the latter part of the season, what lessons do you take from those moments that you would, tell the younger kids?
Always be ready. You never know what's going to happen. Obviously, like I said, I was expecting to have a good year this year as a football team and everything. And, Nate Mays probably didn't expect to come in and play as many football games as he did, as well as Ricky Davis. So, at the beginning of the season, Ricky Davis wasn't even quarterback. He was a wide receiver. So, obviously, that was a big shift for him. And last year, obviously, I was a third string, whatever you want to say, on the depth chart. And, I ended up where I ended up. So, at any time, anything can happen, and you got to be ready to go. So, if you're a 2, if you're a 3, you got to be preparing yourself to be a starter, because anything can happen in a split decision. Like, Ricky didn't probably prepare Ricky didn't plan on doing what he did this year. If you told him at the beginning of the season, you're going to be our starter towards the end of the season. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You got to be ready to go at any time.
Not to use the word emotional, but will you take everything in Saturday?
Yeah, probably. I mean, as wrapping your career up, I'm sure everybody always says how tough it is. And obviously in high school, it was tough to end in high school, but I knew that I was going to play 4 years in college or 5 years, whatever it was going to be. So it was kind of like, all right, well, I still got some time left. But obviously, towards this part of my career, the next level is, not my favorite right now, obviously. But, like you said, it's going to be kind of one of those things emotionally where you're just done. And I don't know how that feeling's going to be yet, but we'll see Saturday, right?
What are you going to do, when you leave here?
I'm not sure yet. My biggest plan right now is probably going to some type of sales. Hopefully land a solid job in that. Coaching's always been in the back of my head, but I think that myself, I'm ready to get away and try something new. see how I like that part of the world, and just kind of go from there. Hopefully stay in the area somewhere around, Stark County up to here.
Is it kind of fitting that you and Ricky are playing quarterback, number 1, number 2, sharing time a little bit here and there as you guys go in the last game?
Yeah, I feel like that's been the story of our whole career. Geez, since we've been here, it's been like, here's you, here's him, here's you, here's him. So, it's just like, what's new? So, it's cool. We both enjoy it. So, it's just kind of been like a joke between us, since we've been here.